Good morning. Gonna be heading out today. It's gonna be a beautiful day. Not too far away from where I'm parked, and walk out there with my sled. I don't have my hut today. It's gonna be in Celsius -5 or +2. So I've got my sled, no hut, my electronics ready to go, and try to catch some fish and show you how these alarms work. First thing I do is I've got an auto chart from boating this summer. Picked out a couple of good points. Gonna drill out some holes, and Adam's gonna love this one. I've got an electric auger this time. You don't have to hand drill them, but drill a few holes and see if the terrain's exactly what I think it is, and then we should be good to go. So here's what I'm using today. This is the tip up in the light. I turned it on. You can see it's on with some Velcro and some tape. It kind of swivels around. That's what I want to improve. But the concept is the alarm goes off when you have the tip up set, and then you have a fish, let's say, pulling your hook. And if I pull it down, that's the concept. The fish alarm goes off. I've got two types of these. I've got a alarm like this, which a guy I met off a Facebook group, he actually 3D printed these and made them himself. It actually lights up as well. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a light on there as well. And this is the one I made myself. Now this is a standard GE window and door security alarm. Well, and the same thing. You know, fish comes, pulls the bait, ding dong. And I managed to catch quite a few fish off this now. Two different types of alarms. I've also got the bells on there, but you can see they're not very loud. So when they go off, it just goes off once, because once the flag stick goes up, if you don't catch that bell and you're in your hut, you don't hear it. So let's set up the lines and see if we can catch some fish. All right, so we got an alarm going off here. So let's take a look here. Now I expect this area to have smaller fish. Let me set this up so we can see this. Now, if there's a fish on, usually the top of the spindle goes off, but it's not, so could be a slightly smaller fish. Give it a second here. Oh, I have another. Oh, there's another alarm going off behind me here. I'll see if I can catch this one first. Just to make sure it's there. I feel it slowly nibbling. You got to give it some time to eat the minnow that's on the hook, because they usually bite it and just kind of sit before they eat it. I do feel some weight. Let's see if I can. I've got another fish, a fly going off here. So let me try to set the hook. Bring it up by hand. This is the best part about tip up fishing. There we go. I don't have my pliers with me, so I got to do this quickly. I got another fish on. There we go. It's a nice walleye. I'm going to put this one back. There we go. Okay, let's go to the other flag. I don't have my pliers, so hopefully it didn't swallow it. Okay, so I'll try to explain it. You can have 10 lines set up in Quebec and 2 lines typically in Ontario and other places. But let me see if there's a fish on. I let out some line because you need some slack to let the fish kind of run with it. And then on a slack line, slowly inch up until you can feel if there's a nibble on. And usually you can feel some weight when you're pulling it up a little bit. So I feel a little bit of weight. So it's going to be another small one, if anything. All right. And you'll see that when I set the hook, it's just a quick twitch. It's not a huge lift of the arm. That's actually not too bad. I just got set up here. I don't have my pliers on me to get the hook out easier. But there's walleye number 2. Nice fish. Alrighty. Okay. Back you go. Well, that was crazy. 2 fish in a row. I gotta get some minnows back on. Yeah. You're not gonna believe this. I was just putting the minnow back on and I was just dropping the line back down into the hole and I got another fish on here. I'm just gonna let it play out. I haven't even set this up yet. I was literally just putting the minnow back onto the hook and I felt a tug. Oh, I may have taken the minnow though. Oh, I feel a small tug. It's there. This is crazy. I literally just put the minnow on. I just caught those 2 fish. And I was just putting the minnow back on and putting the line down. It's the exact same hole. And there's another fish on. I'm gonna give it a second here just to eat the minnow. I've been catching some numbers of quite a few fish, but they've been a little bit smaller, but managed to keep a few. I'd like to catch a couple of perch, which are smaller fish, but I think the kids like it. Fish nugget din din. Here we go. I feel a slight tug. And set the hook. This still feels slightly small. Unbelievable. Well, there's another pretty walleye. Can't believe that. That was insane. Back you go. So a couple of questions I get asked a lot when it comes to ice fishing. The first one is safety on the ice, and we always want to be safe. I always carry, safety spikes which come out and you can spike. So if accidentally you do fall on the ice, you can chip away and claw out. I've got a float seat on, so my jacket actually has a life jacket built in. So do my bibs. My snow pants also have flotation in there. Typically when it's earlier in the year, I take out something called a spud bar, which is a big heavy bar that has a spike on the end of it, and you chisel as you're walking out, and you can tell. Now it's for adults, it's to be safe, it's 4 inches of ice. Where I'm standing right now, it's about 1.5 feet. So even, middle of March or coming to it, the season ends March 31st in Quebec, and Ontario just finished off March 1st. But over the season, you get to know conditions. I fished this exact spot, this whole stretch area. This is a new area for me today, but just further down, I've fished this whole ridge, and I know that the ice is safe, but I always still, as a precaution, wear the safety gear. Another question I get is, how do you know where the fish are? And the fish, walleye in particular, are probably the most finicky and tricky, the most elusive in terms of where they want to hang out. They move throughout the year, especially ice fishing. They like to hang on to what we call structure, where it gets deep water, and then it gets up to shallow. Right now I'm in about 20 feet of water fishing. And from there, you find little bends, if there's little rock piles and humps and things of that nature. So I have my fish finder, which has a GPS and a mapping tool in there. And I use that a lot to map the terrain, which I did in the summer on the boat, and then come back here and mark some of the spots. So electronics really do help out in that sense. But certainly sometimes it's trial and error, but sometimes it is definitely knowing where the fish should technically be, and then increasing your odds that way. The last question a friend of mine asked me who never went ice fishing, and the question was, where do you pee on the ice? To which I replied, you pee on the ice. And he replied with, in the hole? And I said, you don't pee in the hole that you drill, because that's where you pull the fish out. But anyway, see if we can catch a few more fish. So another method I use for ice fishing, and it's very popular, especially if you're in it's called the dead stick. So this is a very light action rod, lot of give to it. So the idea is, if you're jigging with something in one hole, this is just sitting in a bucket or in your tent, just on here on a little stand. And when the fish takes it, it's just kind of, the fish hooks itself. What I've been using are just little minnows. I found a person that sells live bait, and I freeze them, salt them and freeze them. And what I do is I just hook it right behind the skull, right in that tip there. And I've noticed that the skull's a little bit harder, so the fish doesn't come off as much. So I've got a little treble hook on a fish with a little weight on top. So, and that little glow bead just helps attract the fish a little bit more. It's a very subtle presentation. It's the most basic form of fishing. Little weight, little hook, and little fish, and throw it down. So I'm just going to drop it down. I've already marked the depth in this area, and once you get it down, you just let it stand on the, let it sit on the stand. And I have a little piece of string, so I mark how deep this area was, and I've got a little piece of green string called a bobber stopper right there, and that tells me how deep this particular area is. I used a heavy weight just to put the hook right down to the bottom, put the string to the top of the ice, and that tells me how deep I want to be. And then I have on this particular rod a clicker. So when a fish takes it, it's very light. There's no resistance on the spool. And the idea is, when the fish takes it, it can just run with it, and I'll hear the clicker. So I'll just let it sit on the stand, and you'll just see the rod move and the clicker go when the fish bites. And those little black foam things, I bought a yoga mat that was, I think I have a fish on. I have a fish on. This is crazy. I'm gonna let some line out. Okay, well, that's a good demonstration. That's how a dead stick works. Let me see if I can catch this fish. So I'm just gonna turn off the clicker, reel up slowly. I do feel a little bite, so I'm just gonna reel up, and just like you would on a regular rod, just gonna let him take it, because that was pretty instantaneous. And you need, with a live minnow and a very subtle presentation, the fish typically eats it at the head. Oh, I broke off. Maybe I should pay attention to fishing and not talking. It broke off, but the idea is you need to let the fish run for a little bit more, so it can engulf the minnow a little bit more, because typically it just nips it and takes it a few feet and slowly nips away at the minnow, and without, you want to have it where there's no resistance on the line. But anyways, that was fun. Let's put a minnow back on and try it again. Maybe I catch it this time and not lose the fish. You know what, I just put another minnow on. You know what, I just realized before I was so rudely interrupted by that fish. I was talking about this yoga mat. I cut out little circles with little slots in them. It's a thermal hole cover. It's great when the sun's shining. What it does is prevents the hole, especially outside, from freezing over. So I just bought a yoga mat and cut 10 of these things out. I have a couple other ones that I use that I bought at the store, but I just came up with that idea, and it's been working great. The black of the yoga mat absorbs the sun, and the warmer temperatures of the surface water almost acts like an insulator as well, so it keeps the hole from freezing over. It does an excellent job at doing that. In the hut, you don't really need to worry about these because you've got a heater going, but outside, especially when it's colder than a day like today, I won't have any problems with the ice freezing over because it's very warm considering. But anyways, a couple other interesting things. Looks like we got another alarm going off here. You can see my row of tip-ups, and in the distance I can see this thing spinning. So let's just set this up right here. Boy, this sun is really bright. I can't even see the screen. Hopefully you can see it. I can feel a little bit of weight, so I'm going to give it a second and then set the hook. In fact, let me try to do something crazy and fix the camera so you can actually see. I hope the fish is still there. It's a different experience videotaping or just fishing. Yeah, I definitely feel a fish on it. Actually feels a little bit nicer. All right. Perfectly hook set too, right on the top lip. Let's just see if I can get this out quickly. Another nice walleye. Okay, talk about crazy. I literally just caught that fish a second ago. I was trying to put a minnow back on. I put the camera back. The same thing's going off again. Whoops. So let's see if I can get this one. I don't know if it's still there, but I think maybe after this I'll focus a little bit more on the fishing. Yeah, I may have dropped it. But, oh, actually the spindle was moving. Yeah, I feel a little bit of a tug. Oh, it's a very light tug though. Just a light hook set. A little bit nicer. And let's get that hook out really quick. There is another nice walleye. Gonna let that one go too. I think today is a catch and release day. Oh my goodness. You are not gonna believe this, but
It's literally the same one. I've been trying to set this thing up for 10 minutes, and every time I put the hook down, there's another fish. So let's, I literally just put the line back in the water. I turned the alarm on and the spindle started going. I don't know if it's still there, but we will check. Maybe it's the same fish. Maybe I shouldn't let it go. This is the third one. There's something there. But I don't know how large it is though. Yeah, there's something here. Well, if I can get this one, that'll be 3 in a row, and literally back to back to back. I've lost track. I haven't recorded all the fish I've caught yet today, but it's been pretty productive. Thing is, when you get close to the hole, you just want to slow down a little bit. And oh, this one's gonna need the pliers. There we go, back you go. Alrighty.
Well, that'll wrap it up. I was only doing this video so I could show Andrew how some of these alarms work, just based on we're gonna try to maybe come up with a better alarm system when these things go up. But you know, these alarms work fairly well, but a couple of things I could probably improve. But anyway, open invite if any of you want to come out and ice fish, but you'll need warm clothing. Anyways, take care everyone.